If old shows couldn't speak to families today, that would have to be true across the board. But it's not. And here's why. It's not about the decade the show was made in. It's about whether the story is honest. The Wonder Years is honest in a way TV shows today can't anymore. And if you've ever felt something watching an old show that you couldn't quite explain, you already know powerful stories don't have an expiration date. My daughter figured that out by episode 2. Today, I'm going to share with you why. Welcome to Wholesome TV Picks. I'm your host, Jennifer Avila, and this is the only podcast where every recommendation is backed by 35 plus years of watching wholesome TV so that you never waste another night on the wrong pick. Let's dive into today's episode. Woof, I'm so excited. My kids and I just finished watching this entire series, and it's the first time I've watched it in over 20 years, and I have a lot to tell you. This show, The Wonder Years, started in 1988 and ran through 1993, and it's a coming-of-age TV show that is completely from the perspective of Kevin Arnold, growing up in 1970s suburban America. That is one thing that makes this show so special because it is from a child's perspective on growing up. We have a wonderful cast that makes this show what it is. Jack is played by Dan Lauria, Norma Ali Mills, Karen Olivia Dabo, Wayne, Jason Harvey, and Kevin Arnold by none other than Fred Savage. And we have some wonderful supporting cast members. Kevin's best friend, Paul Pfeiffer, is played by Josh Saviano, and the infamous Winnie Cooper, the girl next door, is played by none other than Danica McKellar. And the whole show is told from Kevin's point of view. Not kid Kevin, but adult Kevin looking back. Narrated by none other than Daniel Stern, who you will recognize as Marv from the Home Alone franchise. Many of the characters in this show have played characters on many of the other family TV shows and movies that I've talked about in this podcast. The Wonder Years is available for streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu TV. However, I highly, highly recommend to invest the money in buying the whole series to enjoy. I paid $40 for this series when it was on sale on Amazon. The DVD gives an awesome insert that gives you so much behind-the-scenes information that just gives that extra something when you're watching the episodes. Best of all, this is a wholesome TV show that you can watch with, I would say, maybe around age 10. Sometimes there are a couple of scenes with kissing, but nothing too bad. Oh my gosh, this show has hit me in a way I can't describe. Every time we watch it, my daughter looks at me and says, "Mom, are you crying? Mom, would you want a bucket of tears?" My husband, too, he goes, "Why are you so emotional? Is it the song? The story?" All I can explain to my daughter is, you'll understand one day. You'll understand when you're a parent. And part of what gets me is the world this show drops you into. Picture this. A quaint neighborhood of homes on a typical American street, lined with beautiful big trees, kids riding bikes, playing football in the street, kids staying out all day to play until it was dark. This was the American family life and the idyllic American dream. The Wonder Years will sweep you away into another time, a time when life was simpler and when people connected in a way that rarely occurs today. From personal experience, I don't know any of my neighbors. Growing up, I knew every neighbor on my street. And if you're so blessed to have good neighbors, count your blessings. There are so many scenes that have music that just gets to me. We're talking about the Beach Boys, the Spinners, Elvis. If you've never heard this song, Google Joe Cocker, I Have a Little Help from My Friends. Oh my gosh, once you hear this song with this show, it's forever tied. But it's not just the music. It's everything this show puts in front of your kids. I'll give you some examples so you can see what I mean. The Wonder Years will take your children on a crazy journey through Kevin Arnold's perspective of life, going to school, going through puberty, the hardships of growing up as a boy, dealing with girls, all this stuff that we all go through. There's humor woven throughout the show in every season with jokes that might make today's society cringe. Back when TV was able to make jokes and everyone was able to take a joke and laugh at it. There's an episode where the boys are in PE class, and the PE teacher tells them they're being joined by the girls' PE class because they're going to learn how to square dance. Apparently, there's this one girl who is known for being just weird, and no boy wants to be with her. And guess who gets stuck with her? Kevin. He's getting laughed at by the guys, and what she really wants is a friend. Kevin ends up being nice to her in the beginning. He invites her over to his house one afternoon just to talk to her. They're sitting down having a soda, and they just have this wonderful conversation at the kitchen table. All of a sudden, Kevin's alerted because he hears his brother Wayne pull up into the driveway. Wayne is the type of brother that is a loudmouth, obnoxious, and a blabber that tells everybody everything. And he does not want his brother spreading to the whole school that he was hanging out with this girl. Wow, that one just stuck with me. But there's another moment that led to an interesting question from my daughter. Paul's little sister, who has a big crush on Kevin and invites him to take her to one of her school dances. Kevin doesn't want to, but he ends up giving in. She's got her beautiful dress. She wears black glasses, got braces, and wearing her little white gloves, and her hair's up in curls. Kevin's wearing his tux. He dances with her like once, and then he tries to sneak off because at the same time of the dance, his friends are off trying to sneak to a popular girls' slumber party. And then there's a moment where Paul's sister is crying, and she ends up wiping her eyes and hits her ear, and one of her grandma's earrings falls off into the pool. Kevin sees the hurt he's caused her. He dives into the pool, tux and all, and then comes up and gives it to her, and then asks her if she wants to dance. My daughter asked me, "Why did he do that?" And I told her, because he's a gentleman. He was sorry, and he showed it. And I told her, that's the kind of boy that you need to date. You see, this is the kind of show this is. But the episode that got me most, the one I still think about, is this. There are so many episodes with so many different lessons, but one in particular stands out. Kevin is really struggling in his algebra class. He finally gets enough nerve to ask the teacher for help. Well, it gets to the point where one day the teacher tells Kevin, "Final's coming up and I can't tutor you anymore." Kevin gets a little upset, like, why? She's like, "You can do it. I believe in you." Well, here comes test day on Monday, and out of anger and spite, Kevin answers all the questions with, "So what? Who cares? What do I know? Eat this. You figure it out." When class is over, Kevin puts the test down on the desk. Teacher looks at it, and then he looks up at Kevin with this disappointed look on his face. Kevin looks at him and just walks out of the room. The next day, the principal pulls Kevin aside and tells him that he's not coming back. And Kevin's like, "What do you mean he's not coming back?" You can just feel his shock, and he's feeling the regret of what he did, and now he can't apologize or say thank you. Well, the principal says, "I'll be subbing his class today, so I'll see you later." When he gets to class, the principal's handing out all the final exams. Kevin's is missing. And when class is over, Kevin gets up and begins to leave when the vice principal says, "Mr. Arnold, I noticed that your final exam is missing. Apparently, your exam must have been lost, but he left this." The vice principal holds up a blank final exam with Kevin's name on it. And you know he's thinking, that's my second chance. That was like the teacher's way of saying, "Here, take it again, because I know you can pass it." Kevin takes that final exam, takes it to the principal, puts it down on the desk. And this is the moment when I said, you don't have to grade it. It's an A. Right after I said that, Kevin said that line verbatim in a solemn tone. My daughter has a look of shock on her face and turns to me and says, Mom, how did you know that? And I said, I remember. This episode was one of those episodes that just stuck with me. She continues to say, you can't remember what you said 5 minutes ago, but you can remember something from a show you haven't seen in like decades. Long-term versus short-term memory, honey. Kevin's not the only one the show gets right. The parents, Jack and Norma, there's something else. Jack, the husband who works his tail off, comes home and doesn't really care to interact with anybody the second he gets home. He gives off this grisly, leave me alone kind of attitude. But there are those moments where Kevin or Wayne or Karen need their dad at an emotional time, and he pulls through. So you do see this softer, gentler side of Jack Arnold that you wouldn't think he'd have based on the rough exterior that he portrays on the show. We see an episode when Jack and Norma are kind of having a stalemate in their marriage. I mean, sure, we all can relate to them. Their marriage isn't perfect. They have their ups and downs like any marriage. The kids notice the parents are not as happy as they once were. Jack's not appreciating Norma for everything that she does for the family. And over the course of the episode, something happens and it brings them together. It makes them remember who they are, who they were when they fell in love, and how important it is to keep that relationship together. There's another instance later where Jack gets a promotion, but it requires him to travel more. But this one scene where he actually has to work at Thanksgiving, and that really hits Norma really hard. But Jack somehow manages to make it home for Thanksgiving, but only for a few hours. He calls Norma. She and the kids rush to the airport. Nothing else matters. Norma just runs down the tarmac to get to Jack, and they just embrace. And Wayne, Kevin, and Karen are just watching this beautiful moment with their parents, and to see how much they love each other and what they mean to one another. I will tell you, as a young child, when I watched this show, I remember thinking, wow, I hope to have a family like that one day. I can't wait to buy a house and live in my own house with my own kids. I can't wait to grow up. My daughter is taking a guitar course online, and her teacher told her over a year ago that The Wonder Years is a good show. She messaged him back saying, my mom said the same thing. Now my daughter says, wow, you and Carl were right. This show is beyond good. My husband's never seen this all the way through, but the episodes he has watched with us, he's enjoying it as much as we do. Every single episode will give your family something to talk about. It's not that old shows are outdated. It's just that family TV was made better back in the day when they knew how to storytell and wanted to give quality TV to families to bond over. This is one show that if you're the type of parent that limits screen time, it is so worth the 25 minutes to sit down and watch this show. The Wonder Years is a TV show that just grabs a hold of you. It'll remind you of times when your kids were smaller. It'll make you wish that you could bottle up all the precious moments when your kids were little. After watching this show, I dare you to name one show for your kids today that you think they'll still remember and carry with them when they're 40 years old. Do me a favor. If you enjoyed this show, head on over to my website at wholesometvpicks.com and sign up for my email newsletter so that you can get sneak peeks at the names of the shows and movies that I'll be talking about or series that are coming up in future episodes. Additionally, share this show with a friend who you think will enjoy this content as well and help me grow the show. Next week on Wholesome TV Picks, we're continuing our Wholesome Family TV series with a TV show from the 80s about a family with a little girl that runs on microchips. Critics hated it, but kids loved it. Don't miss it. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, your values matter and your TV should too. Take care.